Hello, friends, and welcome back to Science with Mr. Ko. Have you ever spent time looking at the stars? If so, maybe you saw some shapes or patterns. Congrats, you found a constellation. Stargazing from a city can be hard. That's because there are lots of lights around us, which create light pollution. But by using Space Engine, we can fly way above those lights to get a better look at constellations. As we orbit the Earth here, you can see that constellations are found in all parts of the sky. From a backyard in Washington, D.C., though, only the brightest constellations are visible to us. As we rotate to look at a certain part of the sky, maybe you'll recognize one. Can you find the Big Dipper? Did you find it yet? Here it is. The handle right here, and then the dipper. Did you know that the Big Dipper is actually part of a larger constellation called Ursa Major? That means Big Bear. As we look at the shape of Ursa Major, I can almost see a bear shape. The Big Dipper is actually the bear's tail and hindquarters, and then his body goes up this way. There's its head, and its legs come down underneath. Pretty cool. Now, most of the stars in the Big Dipper are too faint for us to see from Washington, but I bet you, if you go outside on a clear night this spring and summer, just after sunset, you'll be able to find the Big Dipper rising in the east. Now, I thought we'd use the power of Space Engine to actually travel to one of the stars inside the Big Dipper. How about that? Let's click on one of them. How about the very end one here in the Big Dipper's handle? Click. That star is called Benetnach, and its other name is called Alkaid. Let's go visit Alkaid, shall we? It's gonna be a long journey, at least in terms of distance. Luckily, with the power of Space Engine, we can go really, really fast. You know this already if you watched the light speed video. Watch the speed at the top of the screen there. We're going faster and faster and faster. Meanwhile, watch the distance over here at the left. Right now we're about 100 light years away from Alkaid. Let's speed up, shall we? Now we're getting somewhere, and oh my, look at what's happening to the constellations. They're changing shape, aren't they? Here we come on our final approach to Alkaid. The distance is going down really fast, so we're going to have to slow down a little bit as we approach. My data tells me that Alkaid has 5 planets in orbit around it. As we approach Alkaid, maybe you'll be able to see them. Here we come. 13 light years to go. I don't want to zoom right past it, so I'm slowing down a little bit as we get closer. 5 light years to go. Do you see any planets yet? I don't. But we're getting closer and closer. 1 light year to go. Trying to keep it centered. Slowing down. 1/10 of a light year to go. As we get closer to Alkaid, notice how it looks bigger and bigger and brighter, right? Almost there. Ooh, I can see a planet up there. That's one of them. There's a few planets here. All right, now we've arrived at Alkaid, and let's act like one of those little planets and orbit Alkaid a little bit. Look at what's happened to our constellations. My goodness. I don't really see any shapes that make sense anymore, just a bunch of lines, right? What might explain that? Why do all the constellations look out of whack now? Think about that for a second. Do you notice how all the lines of the constellations seem to be pointing to a certain area of space? What might be special about that certain area of space? Let's rotate back to that spot, and we'll find out why that area of space is special. Have you figured it out yet? We've flown 100 light years through space to a whole different star called Alkaid. We're not anywhere close to Earth or the Sun anymore. So our point of view on space is totally different. Let's find Earth again. There it is. See the green arrows? Why do you think all the lines of the constellations we know about point toward our little planet, Earth? Why is that happening? Let's fly back to Earth. And as we fly back to Earth, watch how the lines of the constellations change again. Here we go. Gonna have to speed up because we've got 100 light years to cover. As we fly, we can look around at the shapes, and as we get closer to Earth, you might see those shapes start to make sense again. Here we come. Oops, a little too fast there. Now that we're back in Earth's neighborhood, the constellations look right again. That's because the constellations we know are all only coherent shapes when they're viewed from Earth. Those stars that you see in constellations aren't necessarily right next to one another. They may be hundreds of light years apart, but they seem to be close to each other from our point of view just because of where they are in space relative to us. Oops! Crashed into Earth. Let's get a little more distance here. There we go. Back on Earth, the constellations make sense again, right? Shall we find another? Let's try Canis Major. That means big dog in Latin. Canis Major features one of the brightest stars in the night sky. In fact, the very brightest star in the night sky. It's called Sirius. Let's go visit Sirius, shall we? Watch what happens to the constellations again as we go. Here we go. Faster and faster and faster. Oh man, look at Orion up there. Look at how it's changed. Whoa. Look at Sirius. If we look at Sirius from a different point of view, we don't see that dog shape anymore, do we? In order for that constellation to make sense, it has to be viewed from Earth. Like this. In fact, Sirius is closer to Earth than it is to the other stars in this constellation. Sirius is only 8 light years from Earth. Meanwhile, it's 3,189 light years from the tail of the big dog. It's, let's see, 243 light years from the nose of the dog. It's 491 light years from the foot of the dog. Constellations are all a matter of perspective and point of view. Let's head back to Earth. Here we are again, and the constellations make sense. Next time you go outside under a clear night sky and you see the constellations, think back to this. Those stars look amazing when they're seen from Earth, and truly, they would look amazing no matter where you saw them from. But just remember, the shapes you see up there are special shapes to Earth, and nowhere else. Thanks for watching, friends. I'll see you next time.